Alright, hello, good evening. We have a story that happened in Manhattan today at Channel 1 obviously did ignore, and that was a fire that broke out today at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in the Upper East Side of Manhattan, and this is, of course, a stock image that we were able to find online. Well, I was to be specific, but we're going to get into the developing details, and we're going to watch a video from Channel 7. So here are the details from WABC TV. Firefighters put out a small fire that started on an outdoor terrace at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in Manhattan today. The flames sent heavy smoke billowing high into the air just before 2 p.m. FDNY Battalion Chief Patrick DePero said some wood decking had caught fire on a 6th-floor terrace. Firefighters evacuated the 5th, 6th, and 7th floors as a precaution, and the streets surrounding the building on the Upper East Side were closed as they worked to put out the flames. Ultimately, the Perro said it was a small fire which crews put out quickly, and they rippled up all of the wood decking to make sure all of the fire was extinguished. So, obviously, that's what happened today. So, we'll go to NYPD Firewire. See if we can find something. Okay, here we go. This is the details we got from Twitter earlier today. So we'll just take a look at this. So, yes, so obviously 1077 was sent out. So this was sent out about 2 o'clock today. So Channel 7 did wait a little bit longer in the broadcast to bring it up because I guess they wanted Shannon Stone from Newscapter 7 to get a good shot of it. So let's watch the video that was released after 4 p.m. today.
A fire broke out on an outside deck at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, that off the Upper East Side. Shannon Stone live in New.
And by the way, before we watch the rest, you see here they actually almost spent 2 minutes talking about it.
Newscapter 7. Shannon, how serious a fire was this?
The fire looked really bad, but apparently it stayed to the exterior of the building. We're just going to zoom in here with Street Spotter 7 and show you where the damage is. This is the 6th floor. There's an exterior deck there, and you can see that entire area is where the damage was. But we do have some video that we can show you from Citizen app when this fire was raging. So we had thick black smoke billowing up out of the side of the building, and it looked bad. The good news there is that all of that fire stayed on the outside of the building, really never entering the inside. We did talk to the fire department earlier, and this is what they had to say.
There was some wood decking that had caught fire. We stretched a line up the via the standpipe. The members put the fire out. We had to rip up all the wood decking to make sure all the fire was out. We evacuated all the occupants on the 5th, 6th, and 7th floor out of a safety concern.
So they did reoccupy the building at this point, so everyone is back in. There was a very large response that shut down East 74th between York and 76th Street here. So a very large response, but that was mostly just because of the size of the building and making sure that the fire didn't get out of hand. But as it turned out, as the fire department mentioned, they were able to contain it to the outside. So it looked really, really bad, but just...
Okay, so I'm assuming the M31 probably got detoured, so let's just quickly take a look at New York City Transit's bus feed, and we'll see if we can find anything on Twitter. So let's take a look. So let's see, hopefully we'll find something. And we'll take a look if the M31 was mentioned, because I'm thinking the M31 probably got affected today. Here we go, so this is what happened with the M31. So it says here, M31 buses are detoured in both directions because of FDNY activity on York Avenue between 72nd Street and 74th Street. Southbound buses will make requested stops along 2nd Avenue between 79th Street and 57th Street before going along the regular route. So, likely, if I was coming from Carl Schultz Park, knowing my luck, I probably would have not been impacted as much because the bus would have just made the right turn on 79th Street. So I'll show you this area around here, and we'll, of course, pull it up. Here is the David Cox Center right here. And obviously, I know this area, given that I've been on the M31 when I've had to go to 57th Street to get the QM5, obviously. So Let's take a look and see if we can pull it up around here. Here's the Cornell Center. So, obviously, right by Hospital for Special Surgery. So, I just want to see if we can get a view of the balcony from Roosevelt Island, because we should be able to. I'd be very surprised if we weren't able to, unless this building is blocking. Yeah, this building is blocking, so we're not going to be able to see it from here. That's an obvious. So what we could do is we could actually get a look at the balcony from the FDR Drive. Let's see if we can pull it up. Okay, that's not really going to help us unless we can get to the top level of the FDR. Let's see. Let's see, can we? Might be able to. Let's see. Oh, come on. Are you kidding me? So it looks like we're not going to be able to get a view of the building. Well, it's right over here. No, see, that's the problem. Yeah, because you're right under the Rockefeller Center. Yeah, so we're not going to be able to get a view of this balcony. Unless maybe we can look at it from here. Can we get it from Vernon Boulevard over here? Maybe? Okay, you're going to have to believe me. I mean, alright, I think that's it right there if I'm correct. Somewhere around here is where the balcony was. But you got to believe me. Alright, they did show a good job, you know, showing what happened. So I'll show you where the detour was. So obviously, again, I'm very grateful that the MTA was able to detour the M31. Because I'm thinking, wait a minute, the M31 couldn't go down York Avenue and then just make the normal right on 57th Street. So what they had to do was, I'll draw a line so you can get an idea. Let's do a little transparency. So let's just put the red line right here. So this is where the bus had to make the right turn. And then what happened was the bus had to go down 2nd Avenue right here. So this is where the bus had to go down. And as you can see here, this is where it went. And then obviously you have the normal route that goes down York. So we'll go down here. And obviously here's Sutton Place. And this is where the bus makes its normal right turn. So obviously I get off right by the Whole Foods normally. And that's where I would get the QM5 to get on the Queensboro Bridge. Or unless, you know, some of the drivers, they'll go down 2nd Avenue and just take the Midtown Tunnel, which I really do not like that route. Just makes sense for the bus to stay on Queens Boulevard. You know, you don't really want to deal with the LIE and then deal with all that mess in Elmhurst, trying to get into Rego Park. So, yep. And obviously, you're not going to see anything about this on Spectrum News Channel 1. No, they could care less. They could care less. Look at that. Feces Man is on the run again. We'll get into that. We'll get into that, trust me. You know, I hate to say the criminals have names now, but unfortunately, that's what things have become around here lately. So thank you to Channel 7 for covering, and I'm very grateful that they had a live report, and, you know, that was very important because, you know. Next up, we're going to talk about this before we get to Feces Man. The voice coach killer has been found. And thank goodness. And apparently, the suspect's from Long Island. And I found out from the Channel 7 app earlier today. So let's read this. 26-year-old Laura Presenia of Port Jefferson was arrested for allegedly causing the death of vocal coach 87-year-old Barbara Gustin. So the original report was back on Thursday, March 10th. Gustin was in the vicinity of West 28th Street and 8th Avenue when she allegedly was approached by Pesina from behind. Pesina then allegedly punched Gusterin, causing Gusterin to fall and hit her head before fleeing the scene. And obviously we know what happened. Gusterin was rushed to Bellevue, and she passed away last week on Tuesday, March 15th, so just a week ago. And then the death was ruled a homicide just yesterday. A source close to the investigation told AM New York Metro that Pazina turned herself into police custody on March 22nd. She was charged with 1 count of manslaughter. So I just want to see if Feces Man was mentioned here, because I really do not want to read from, Let's see, here we go. Let's see if we can actually Google something, because I'm thinking there has to be a way to find out where Feces Man is. Let's see. Oh, look at this. You know what? Let's watch from Channel 4. That's a better idea. Alright, so let's see what Feces Man is up to.
New tonight, the man accused in a disgusting attack, accused of smearing human feces on an unsuspecting subway rider, is now finally behind bars. You might remember he was released following his arrest related to that attack and a separate alleged hate crime dating back to September. But tonight, Franco Broqua is being held on Rikers Island, charged with throwing a dumbbell through the window of a storage facility in Harlem. And investigators also say that Broqua threatened a worker there Thursday. The 37-year-old, who's been arrested at least 40 times, is due back in court next month.
Good. Don't release him. After what? I mean, he threw... That's why he's called Feces Man for a reason. But, Channel 1's not going to have a video about it. No. No. And then Channel 1 obviously ignored this, too. I am so sick of Channel 1 just ignoring major stories. Right? I'm just so sick of it already. I really, really am. So we're just going to organize these for a second, because there is a lot more we got to get into. A lot that happened in Queens. So I got 3 articles I really have to read to, conclude this video. So yeah, we're going to stay in Queens for the rest of this video, because a lot is going on in my borough. So let's get into the first incident. Many of you know last week I talked about a stabbing that happened in Ozone Park. The good news is the NYPD have made an arrest. So let's get into this. A young woman and a 16-year-old boy turned themselves into authorities yesterday and were charged with attempted murder and a harrowing knife attack on 2 high school kids in Queens. Jamie Dean, who lives only a couple blocks away from John Adams High School in Ozone Park, and the teen boy surrendered themselves to the 106 precinct after cops put out photos seeking their whereabouts. 2 male students aged 16 and 17 from the high school were talking to Dean and the other suspect across the street from the building when an argument broke out last Tuesday, March 15th. The couple stabbed the 17-year-old in the stomach and the 16-year-old in the leg and back, police said. The wounded teens fled inside the high school, where they told authorities about the assault. Senator James Sender said, "If students are not safe, they cannot learn. School safety should always be a priority. We need to encourage young people to settle their differences in a nonviolent manner, and we can do that through meditation in juvenile court." The older victim was rushed to Jamaica Hospital, where he was in critical but stable condition. Medics took the younger teen to Cohen's Children's Medical Center in New Hyde Park, Long Island, where he was in stable condition. Neither of the suspects have prior arrests, according to cops. Lawyers for the suspect could not be immediately located. Okay, so that was interesting. Hang on here. I just want to read something. So they took one of the teens to Jamaica, and they took the other to Long Island Jewish. Well, that's very interesting. That's all I'm going to say about that. Okay, so let's get to something serious here. Because there are things that we do have to get into. So I got 3 articles I really have to read from the Queens Courier. Okay? We're going to read them right now. First article. Far Rockaway man in wheelchair struck and killed by alleged unlicensed truck driver. And just for the record, you are not going to see anything from Channel 1 about any of these stories. So I'm just giving you the heads up right here. A 73-year-old man in a wheelchair was struck and killed in Far Rockaway Saturday morning, March 19th. And a Long Island truck driver was arrested and charged with aggravated unlicensed driving. So this is according to Queens District Attorney Melinda Katz's office. So maybe we will have to look for a release from her. Freddie Sisquilly, 42, was driving a 2013 International Harvester delivery truck near the intersection of Central and Namecook Avenue just after 9 a.m. when he was stopped by a red light. Video surveillance shows the 73-year-old victim crossing Central Avenue in his wheelchair in front of the truck. The truck proceeds to strike the unidentified man and then drag him down the block before pulling over. EMS responds to the scene and transported the victim to St. John's Episcopal Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. So, there you go. Another fatal incident involving a vehicle in Far Rockaway. And I don't know why the media didn't take this one seriously. I mean, when that girl got pinned by the car at the car wash, that was taken seriously. So, the Collision Investigation Squad is still looking into more details about what happened. So, oh, look at this! Sisquilly was arraigned Saturday, March 19th in Queens Criminal Court in Kew Gardens for aggravated unlicensed driving and other charges and was released without bail. Are you kidding me? Governor Hochul, the blood's on your hands. You need to give the judges discretion next week when the budget's due. Blood is on your hands, Governor. Unbelievable. And this guy's only going to get a 4-year jail sentence. This guy should at least be getting 10 to 15 years. If I'm Melinda Katz, I'm pushing for a harder sentence in this case. I'm sorry. This guy literally needs to be in jail for 10 to 15 years. So here we go. Obviously, we know about the 10-year-old that was killed at the car wash, and then a 99-year-old Holocaust survivor was killed in Brooklyn. So, it's very, very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. Again, second time in a matter of weeks where we've had a fatal incident in Far Rockaway. See? And the sad reality is, this 10-year-old girl was ran over a month ago in the same neighborhood. I mean, that's disturbing. So I want to look up the hospital. And then we're going to look up Central Avenue in Namco, because I think I know where that is. All right, let's look this up. Oh, I know exactly where this is. Right on top of the Far Rockaway train station. Yep, so I know exactly where this is. Namecook Avenue's right off the Far Rockaway train station. This is where it happened. Right here. Ah, so this was from November of 2020, so I guess the road work must have gotten done. So let's see if we can get a better street view of this. Let's go back to, I guess... Let's do 2019. Better idea. So this is where it probably happened, and this is kind of a little intimidating. I mean, this road kind of does look wide over here. And then let's take a look at St. John's Episcopal. Yeah, so St. John's Episcopal is not too far from where this accident happened. So there you go. I mean, another incident in Far Rockaway that Channel 1 ignored. And then look at this. A Springfield Gardens man was arrested this morning by officers from the 84th Precinct in Northwest Brooklyn and charged him in a forcible touching incident back in February. Askeru Amiliu, age 24, of 158th Street near JFK Airport, was taken into custody for an incident that occurred back on a B-46 bus near Utica Avenue and Flatlands Avenue on Thursday, February 17th. Police said Emmanuel approached 28-year-old woman and pressed his groin area against her rear end before jumping on the bus and fleeing in an unknown direction. Investigators believe that this is the same suspect that operated in Queens in several incidents back in November and December of 2021. So, look at this. A lot of incidents in Jamaica. Okay, so Emmanuel groped the 15-year-old woman on a Q25 bus back on December 16th. The suspect approached the teenager and touched her buttocks several times over her clothing. He proceeded to press his groin against the victim's buttocks before exiting the bus at 82nd Road and Parsons Boulevard. So another incident happened on November 10th. Groping of a 26-year-old woman on a Q65 bus at 164th Street and Hillside Avenue. And then there was another incident, same location about an hour later, where he allegedly pressed his groin against the buttocks of a 14-year-old girl. NYPD confirms no injuries. And speaking of more creeps, this is the last one we're going to read. A woman was allegedly groped, sorry about that, at the Astoria Boulevard subway station on Monday night, and police from the 114th Precinct and Transit District 20 are looking for the man in what they say was an incident of sexual abuse. The 29-year-old victim was standing in the mezzanine of the station just before 7:30 p.m. on Monday, March 21st, when the suspect approached her and proceeded to rub the woman's rear end in a sexual manner without permission to do so. The assailant then took off running in an unknown direction inside the station. So, we do have a suspect description. He was last seen wearing a green jacket, blue jeans, and black and white sneakers. So, obviously very, very disturbing in that regard. And you know Melinda Katz is going to have to deal with more nonsense. So, let's go on the Queens DA's website, shall we? Let's see what our friend Melinda Katz is up to these days. Here we go. So let's see if she is pushing for a harsher sentence of what we just read. Oh, okay, here we go. Here we go. Found it. Jamie Dean. Here we go. This is it. This is it right here. Judge Earl Gargren ordered the defendant to return to court on March 25th, which is this upcoming Friday. So, it looks like the judge in this case is pushing for a harsher sentence. Thank you, Judge Gargren. Thank you so much, because honestly, this is just disturbing. Okay, 25 years should be, should be the most. So, this is the judge in civil court. Her name is Jessica Earl Gargren. And she is here for another 10 years. So, I mean, I'm sure this judge is no nonsense. I hope so. But obviously, with regards to what happened in Ozone Park, you know that there is nothing else. Oh, okay, this is interesting. Let me read this one. Oh, look at this. Sangu Sang was charged with murder and possession of a weapon and the death of a well-known Queens immigration lawyer. So this happened last week. Look at that. So it says here that Judge Jerry Lanzens put her on a murder charge in the 2nd degree, criminal possession of a weapon in the 4th degree. So it says here the suspect was, if convicted, the suspect would be facing 25 to life. So, very, very disturbing. And I'm first finding out that there was a major stabbing in Flushing. So, this is why I gotta read the press releases from Queens District Attorney Melinda Katz. And this is why, again, I'm very grateful for her. I know I was worried about her back in 2019. I was worried she was going to ponder like Alvin Bragg. But trust me, she's nothing like Alvin Bragg. Nothing like him. And I'm very grateful that we have a DA in Melinda Katz that is not going to take any of this nonsense. So, that's pretty much it. The news you're not going to see on Channel 1 tonight. So, thank you for watching.